Hi, everyone. Ashley Mailloux, Mike Beer here, taking a look at one of the several stakes races this Saturday at Keeneland. The meet gets underway on Friday. Saturday's loaded with stakes, and there's several grade ones. We're not going to focus in on a grade one. We're going to focus in the grade two Woodford. It's race 6 on the 11 race program, 5.5 furlongs on the grass. And before we get to that, just a reminder, if you're looking for some interesting racing related content, check out the DRF podcast Off the Track with Gina Picola. He's had a guest on every single week. Trainers, photographers, such as our very own Barbara Livingston. Just really good content out there to learn some of the faces in the game from a different perspective. So you can check that out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And don't forget, subscribe to the DRF YouTube page to get all of those updates as well. Now, for this preview, we mentioned it's the grade 2 Woodford, and looking at the field, Mike, in terms of what we'll get this year, get a field of 9. And I don't know if it's necessarily as strong as some of the Woodfords that we've seen in the past, but I actually think it's a pretty evenly matched bunch.
I agree with you. I don't know that it's, we've seen better quality in this field for sure, but this is kind of an interesting race to handicap because first of all, there's a lot of speed in this race, and we'll get to the pace projector in a minute, but it feels to me like they're going to be going fast up front if this field stays intact. And so I feel like that opens the race up for a lot of different horses.
And we will take a look at the Time Form US pace projection in terms of what they say. We don't see the fast pace, but again, we're looking at a turf sprint. We think it's going to be fast. I agree with you. I think it's going to be faster than this might suggest. And I guess the question here is, does the 2 world record try the turf for the first time here? Or do they opt for the spot on Friday at Keeneland? He is very quick, but he's dirt quick. We'll see if that translates to the turf. But Joe Shiesty obviously had issues last time out at Ellis Park, but prior to that, another one that goes quite quick early on.
Yeah, exactly. You're right to point out that you have to wait to see if the field stays intact, because maybe world record won't run here and he will run in the Phoenix on dirt on Friday. But it's interesting. If he does run here, as long as he transfers his form, he's going to be part of the pace there. He's a fast horse. Joe Shiesty has one way to go. He's never run well when he doesn't make the lead in his races. And I don't see how the connections of Doncho could be thinking about rating here based on his last 2 races.
And note that the late pace flag is attached to number 8, Kadem here, who was 3rd last time out at Kentucky Downs. We'll dive into it, though, with a replay of that race at Kentucky Downs last time out on August 30th. Arrest Me Red ends up being the 4th place finisher. And I don't know how to read the Kentucky Downs form, but I will say I thought he did not get the trip that he wants, and he still fired a pretty big effort.
I thought he ran well in here too. He's going to just miss 3rd at the end here to a horse he's going to face again here. Just out of that race, I'd much prefer Arrest Me Red. Along with the good effort last time, he's just got a bunch of races that make him really tough. He doesn't win anymore. He's won a couple of allowance races on turf the last couple of years, but he's a, prior graded stakes winner on the grass. He always shows up. He's got the right running style for this race too, actually, because he's got enough speed to be forward, but he doesn't need to be on the lead. So if they're hitting in front of him, he's just going to sit on the rail and then come with a run through the stretch. I don't trust him to win races anymore, but I think he's super dangerous in here.
Well, I think you bring up a great point. He draws the rail, and with his running style, I think that's really going to help him, that he just has enough speed that he's not going to get himself into a ton of trouble. And you mentioned it. He has some allowance wins on the turf. His most recent turf win, 5.5 furlongs at Keeneland in the fall of last year. So just something to note there with the number 1, Arrest Me Red, the 2 world record. We saw that he could be in the mix if they opt for this spot rather than race number 7 on Friday at Keeneland. And I don't know what to do with him. Obviously, he was highly regarded after the win to kick off the year at Churchill, and he's just hasn't been able to win in the last 2. They're good efforts, but now you got to question the turf, and gun runners can pretty much run on anything. I don't think it's a huge deal, but it is a tough task first time on grass against this group.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see if they run here. First of all, I just feel like it's kind of not a great sign that they're even thinking about running him on turf just based on his overall dirt form, which I agree with you is actually pretty good. So I don't know what the idea here is to enter him in this race. I don't know if he'll run here. I didn't like his last race that much. I know that he was maybe out of position there after a bump at the start. So maybe that's an excuse, but I didn't think that he ran that well. And I see no real turf pedigree for this horse. So I kind of hope he runs here because I don't like him that much and he should take some money, but we'll see what happens.
The number 3, Joe Shiesty, you said it best, is one way of going. He's going to the front. That didn't happen last time out at Ellis Park. They've given him some time to regroup. And we see him at Keeneland at once. He took them gate to wire at this distance on the turf course. And talk about quick. The fractions of that race were really quick, Mike. And obviously, he's dangerous on the front end, but I do think there's a good chance he could be hounded in here.
Yeah, I just didn't think the pace was going to be slow. So we'll see, what kind of trip he can work out here. I mean, obviously, it's pretty clear looking at his PPs. The last race, and then there's one other race from last summer. The 2 times that he didn't make the lead, they are not good performances. He's at his best when they can just make the front with him and let him roll. And if he gets that trip, I guess he's pretty dangerous, actually. But I thought there were other horses that could keep up with him early in here.
The number 4, Outlaw Kid. I used to be a fan of this horse. I feel like he always fired really good races early on in his career. And just in his last couple, I haven't been able to fully trust him. I don't know necessarily where he wants to be in his races anymore. 2 starts back, he took a ton of play in a 5-ace event at Woodbine, and I just didn't like that effort at all. Maybe it was where he was placed, and we'll see how he's going to race at Keeneland. He's never been over this course.
I'll appreciate it if you stop stealing my thunder going forward. I have the same opinion on this horse that you do. I used to love him. He has totally lost me this year.
We'll move to the number 5 in here, Don Show, another one that's in great form. As you mentioned, won the DeHaas last time out after trying a turf stakes competition at Colonial. And he's a horse that obviously he had dirt speed. He ran well on the dirt, but to me, he's blossomed really in his last 2 on the grass.
Yeah, he has. I mean, they're fast races for sure. I'm not sold. I'll just say this. I'm not sold on him yet. I think he's going to be the favorite in this race. And if he is, I'm definitely going to bet against him here and take my chances. I'm probably being too hard on him for the turf debut, which, by the way, came over this course and distance. He was off of a layoff, but he was terrible in that race. And, he came back. He's got 2 wins in a row since then, both when he was able to get loose on the lead. To me, they're races that look better on paper than they actually are. But maybe I'm wrong about that. We'll see.
When you bring up a great point, he has to step up here at 3-1 on the morning line. It's really not good value on a horse like this. I think if he's in the ballpark of, say, 6, 7, 8-1, it's a different story. But he's going to be betting here. Completely agree with you, and still needs to show that maybe he's going to have to win this in a different way as well. I don't think he's going to be going gate to wire, at least by himself. The number 6, Charcoal, up next for Tracy Wisner, was well defeated in the most recent effort. Prior to that, finished 7th in the preview for that race at Kentucky Downs. And just the form is really muddied. I would think he's going to need some sort of a speed duel to occur. He's going to have to show a late turn of foot.
Yeah, he might get the right setup in here, though. So I just, at a huge price, I wanted to keep an open mind about him, if only because he does have a couple of races, at least, that will give him some kind of a chance in here. I mean, you only have to go back to last summer to find him beating Arrest Me Red at a really big price, closing from off the pace. Maybe he gets the right trip in here and gets a piece of this.
We will move to the number 7, Governor Sam, the 3-year-old facing the Olders in this event. And we'll take a look at his most recent performance, which was at Kentucky Downs. I felt like overall, though, a good effort for him. He was jumping back up into Grade 1 competition for the first time since the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint. And I think he's a little further back than he prefers, but all in all, probably gained a lot out of this.
Yeah, he ran okay in this race. I mean, I thought that trip, worked out pretty well for him, and he was never a real threat, but he ran fine. It's also at Kentucky Downs going 6.5. And so I'm just not going to care about it that much. I like the form that he's gotten himself into now as a 3-year-old, Ashley, because I really liked him last year as a 2-year-old, but he was a one-way speed horse last year, and he's not. They've actually taught this horse to rate this year. His quick call at Saratoga, where they sat behind the speed and came running through the stretch, I thought he ran great in there. And I actually feel like he ran fine in the Mahoney too, 2 starts back. Even though he lost at a short price, I thought he ran pretty well in that race. He just happened to get run over by a really good horse for Bill Mott coming from way off the pace. I think this horse is in good form right now. I don't care about his last race, and I think he might be a fair price.
The number 8, Kadem here, the 9-year-old who we saw held on for 3rd. Arrest Me Red was 4th in that race at Kentucky Downs. And you look at his efforts coming over to North America, I think they've both been good. He's gotten great numbers in both of them. Has just needed to do more. And we saw has the LP flag, the late pace flag. I agree with that. He's going to have to roll from off of it. And I think out of his 2 efforts, I preferred the one back in 2024 at Kentucky Downs in comparison to last out.
Yeah, I did too. The other thing that just, is always going to bother me with a horse like him is that the 2 times they sent him over here to run well, they were at Kentucky Downs. And so I just don't know really what to make of those races. This is a totally 5.5 here as compared to 6 at Kentucky Downs. They're totally different races. We'll see how he handles it. He's got back form from overseas that obviously suggests he's a pretty good horse, and there could be pace for him to come after in here. I get the case that could be made for him. I just don't trust him. And out of that last race, I'd rather have Arrest Me Red.
And the number 9 Script is going to round out this field. Another one that has an effort at Kentucky Downs last time out. Won, but it was at the 6.5 furlong distance. And I'm not convinced at this point, A, that Script can handle this level, but also this distance I don't think helps him.
Yeah, I agree with all that stuff. I mean, he's as confusing to me on paper as I think he is to his connections. And you can see all the different things they tried with him. They tried to make him a dirt sprinter. They tried to make him a turf router. They tried to make him a synthetic sprinter. Now they're trying to make him a turf sprinter. You know, I don't know. I just don't think he's good enough.
All right, we will move to our top selections here for the Grade 2 Woodford. Looking at wagering opportunities, it's part of an all-stakes pick 5 on Saturday at Keeneland. And you will go with the 3-year-old, the 7, Governor Sam, who you mentioned. You're not going to read into necessarily the last race, but maybe his running style puts him in a good spot early.
I think he's going to get the right trip in this race. We'll see if he's good enough. Maybe he's not going to be, but I don't like the favorites in this race. And the other horse I was considering is your top pick, Arrest Me Red, who I think is super dangerous in here. He just never wins. And so I'd rather take a shot with somebody else, assuming that the prices are, if they bet the race along the morning line.
I'm glad you're off of Arrest Me Red because he will win now. I'll pick him on top. I think just based on where he's drawn, his style, I think this is going to work out for him well, especially being at Keeneland. And we talked about some of the others in here. I don't have necessarily a lot of confidence in Doncho or World Record if they opt for the turf spot. I want to see something first before I can really believe it. So 7145 for Mike, 1582 for me. It's race number 6, the first of 5 graded stakes races this Saturday at Keeneland. Good luck.